Harris or Jamal Agnew, Shaq Griffin, Rayshon Jenkins, players who you believe their best ball is ahead of them. They are not necessarily these splash free agent signings. I also think the Jaguars are at a point in their trajectory where they believe in the players that are here already. I would sooner see the Jaguars maybe, well, first off, fifth-year option for Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd looming, so that conversation, I would sooner see that.
By the way, Trayvon Walker is loving life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's loving seeing the numbers that are getting thrown out there to other guys.
He's like, keep them coming.
Correct, absolutely.
But that's why I would sooner see the Jaguars extend current players on their roster than I do them going out and making some massive splash. I could be completely wrong. The, of course, twist to all of this is that, yes, Twitter is down right now, folks.
I know. That's why I was like, we're going to navigate this world today without Twitter.
Yeah.
You know who wins? Sites like NFL.com and ESPN.com. People are actually having to go to the website.
Oh, CBS Sports has like their active tracker, and it's funny because it's like it's leading through, and it's like Cardinals re-sign left guard, Grady Jarrett landing spots, and then it's like social media meltdown, and that's on their
Right,
timeline.
exactly. I mean, I'm looking on Threads. I know there's some of you out there where the skies are blue, where some of our friends are. You know, if you see anybody's name pop up, please let us know on the text line, Design by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010, or check out the YouTube the YouTube Digital Studio, where you also can leave a comment. Just search 1010XL and click the video at the top, and we will be sure to pay attention to what you guys are saying because, we're I don't want to say we're flying blind because that sounds bad, but at the same time, we're waiting for news. It's 12:01.
That's right.
The legal tampering window in the NFL has officially begun, and we will be on standby just like the rest of y'all.
Yes, we are. I was just going to say we are live here at the Hate Classic. The third and final round gets underway right around 12:30. They had to push the time back just a little bit due to that weather that was in the area earlier. But now it is an absolutely beautiful day here at Sawgrass Country Club.
It is, and that's what we got to be at a golf course last week, and now we're back at a golf course, and then we'll be at a golf course all week. So
I love it.
A lot of golf. But I was going to go through some of these names we were talking about, the free agents, and the Athletic did an article where they kind of broke it up into tiers. So just to give a little bit of a glimpse of maybe some of the bigger names. And so in the tier one, they have Milton Williams, who's obviously the defensive tackle out of Philly. I really like Milton. I don't know if that's a position they'd go high pay for right now, and he's going to be asking for some money. You just mentioned with Mike Dempsey, Chris Godwin, the Bucks, obviously. We'll see what that one looks like. The next one they have in that top tier is Josh Sweat, the edge that was on Philly also. And then their tier two goes to Sam Darnold, Justin Reed, who Mia is a name we heard mentioned several times last week when we were talking about potential fits for the Jaguars. Several people mentioned Justin Reed's name when we were talking to them. Travarius Ward, corner for the 49ers, Dre Greenlaw, DJ Reed. I think we had some people mentioning him too. Jonathan Allen, who I'm personally a big fan of too. So that's like that next wave of people. And then you have a Javon Hargrave, a Stephon Diggs, a Juwan Johnson. Will Freeze is a name that I mentioned last week I'd like to maybe look at for the offensive line, the guard from the Colts. So there's some names out there that are appealing. I think some of this more so starts to factor in of how much they want and how much you're willing to pay on free agents. Because like I said, a lot of these guys are coming off of injuries, and so we'll see that.
Evan Ingram, by the way, another name I would put in a tier one category, visiting the Broncos.
Of note, R.J. Saunders, I know, are you back? Well, officially, we got two new news. Two bits of news. So, two new news. R.J. Saunders, I know you're managing a lot back there at 1010XL World Headquarters, let alone the fact that we are without our news-breaking website in X, Twitter, whatever you call it these days. Could we get a breaking news if you were there, my friend R.J.? Oh, yeah. All right, and this is why we love you guys on the YouTube Digital Studio, keeping us posted on the very latest. I'm not sure where we're getting these sources from. Maybe it's, I don't know. Well, we got on the text line, too, so it must be real. Hassan Reddick is headed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a one-year, $14 million deal. Again, none of these deals are none of these deals will be verified, officially set until Wednesday at 4 p.m. when the league year officially begins. This is the legal tampering window, and so these contracts can be negotiated, but of course they are agreed upon in principle as of this moment. So again, Hassan Reddick to the Bucks, and it looks like, at least according to one of our here we go. Well, now people are just out here messing around.
Now they're just gonna trick us.
Here, Larry, take your phone back. It's okay. I have this on my laptop. Like, now we got people saying that Evan Ingram is signing with the Broncos. Somebody else saying he's with the Texans. Yeah, so this is the beauty. I guess
I don't want him to go to the Texans.
This is now the world we live in, because if Twitter is down,
Kirk and Ingram,
correct.
When Twitter's down, we're just we're relying on you guys, and I don't even know where this information is coming from. And so the world of misinformation has gotten even crazier. So
it reminds me of before there was the verified stuff on Twitter, and then you always had the people who would change.
It was like
the
Adam
names.
Schefter's, but it was like one letter different,
Correct.
so it was very.
Oh, Twitter's back. Okay. Twitter's
Okay.
back for now at the very least. And this is from Ian Rappaport. Again, Drew Rosenhaus just negotiated a deal, Hassan Reddick, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a 1-year, $14 million deal, $12 million of it guaranteed. I'm just upset because today is my favorite program of the entire year. Like, this is the show that I look forward to. Once upon a time, 3 years ago, when I was technically a free agent myself, I did do the show in place of Joe Cowart because the Players' Championship went to a Monday finish. Little did all of y'all know that I already signed the contract, was coming a month later, full-time to 1010XL. And that moment in time not only sold me on why I was moving to radio full-time, but also why today is one of the best programs that we can bring you in the noon hour each and every year. And that's why I'm upset, but that's a story for another time. I do want to get into the can of worms that is the 1-year deals that I anticipate, and this was perhaps the biggest nugget I came back from the NFL Combine with, Lauren and Taylor. The idea of players, much like in the NBA, and perhaps, RJ, you could speak to this as well, and certainly in the WNBA where there's a looming CBA negotiation at the end of this season, I heard from multiple agents, multiple league sources while I was in Indy that they expect more of these 1-2 year deals with more guaranteed money because it empowers player movement even more because, in turn, you're not locked into these 4 or 5 year deals where even then it doesn't behoove the team because if they opt to move on from you, they then take on void years and still have to pay a dead cap number even if you are no longer employed by the team. And so that's a trend that I'm going to keep an eye on this week, especially during the next 48 hours.
Well, Khalil Mack, that's what happened today as far as the $18 million guaranteed with the Chargers. I mean, if I'm an NFL player, I don't mind the 1 or 2 year deals, assuming that I'm going to get a lot of guaranteed money when I sign for that shorter period of time. The reason they obviously like the longer deals is usually those are the ones that had the more guaranteed money. But the NFL increasing cap figure allows these teams to mix it up a little bit. And so, I certainly as a player, the more times you can get guaranteed money in your life, the better.
Yeah, and I think for a long time we would talk about that guaranteed money being a part of like the longer contracts, but I also feel like a lot of the players would say, especially certain positions, if we're talking about a running back, if we're talking about someone who maybe the longevity of careers usually aren't as long, they like to lock in knowing that they're going to be getting paid 5-6 years if there's injuries and things like that involved. So sometimes you'll see guys want those longer deals because they know they'll get paid no matter what the production is. But now, because I think these teams, to your point, the guaranteed money, but I also think all of the restructuring, a lot of times I don't think it makes it feel like it's as beneficial for players as maybe it used to feel like.
Yeah, so we will certainly keep you abreast of all of the latest news, and we will do our best to track everything as far as now that the legal tampering window is open. One thing I wanted to react to since I wasn't here last week, the fact that Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram aren't going to be on this offense anymore, and obviously Mitch Morse retires as well. I was really surprised by those moves. I thought both would be back, even though I know a lot of people thought Kirk wouldn't because of this salary. I just thought he and Trevor's relationship, both on and off the field, would keep him here for as long as he wanted to be here. And I'm fascinated that I would assume Liam Cohen and company talked to Trevor about it and got his input, and he, gave his stamp of approval basically as far as the moving on, and then obviously trading him to the Texans. That one really did surprise me, though, just because, like I said, that's somebody who has been Kirk has been Trevor's security blanket for years, and Ingram too, really.
Yeah, and that was one of the comments I made last week when it happened, was that you take away both of his security blankets, and we've seen what has happened when Ingram and Kirk were not on the field in the world of Trevor, and it wasn't pretty in a lot of senses. So I do think that there had to have been conversations, and whether Liam Cohen and James Gladstone they may have just been like, look, it's time. Christian Kirk's had injuries now for the last couple of years, and you have to start weighing your options, and we're trying to build something here that's for beyond, for the next 10 years, not just for this next year or two, and that just because they're your friends doesn't mean we keep them,
Right, but my man alive, does that not put, at least as of now, a lot on Brian Thomas Jr.'s shoulders?
Oh, a lot.
I mean, we already knew he was going to be the feature and the focal point of the offense. They've told us that.
Yeah.
But he has only played one season.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mia.
Let's hit a little bit of breaking news, RJ.
Now, breaking news.
Head on a swivel. Twitter may be down, but we are keeping you posted here on the Superstation, and RJ is going to be firing up that breaking news tab a lot over the next 2 hours. This is according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, at least from what it appears to be.
I'm disappointed.
Appears to be Ian Rappaport. Chris Godwin is headed back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 3-year, $66 million deal with a chance to make $24 million. I don't know if this is from Blue Sky or what, but Rappaport's like tweeting in lowercase letters. Ian, if this is you, like, blink twice. $44 million guaranteed at signing. Also of note, and this is from threads from Adam Schefter, the San Francisco 49ers left tackle Jalen Moore is departing and heading to the Kansas City Chiefs on a 2-year. Again, I think that's a theme that we're going to see, ladies. Yeah. Not those 3, 4, 5-year deals, although Chris Godwin's is obviously a 3-year deal with the Bucs. But Jalen Moore, a 2-year, $30 million deal, 21.5 of it guaranteed at signing with the Kansas City Chiefs, a new left tackle for Patrick Mahomes. You knew they would try to address that at some point.
Yeah, no way the Bucs were about to let Chris Godwin come to Jacksonville.
And that's why I talked about that, like you said with Mike. They would be so furious. So that was never going to happen. But we can dream. All right, let's talk some golf on the other side as Caitlin Schroeder joins us. We are live here at Sawgrass Country Club for the UNF Haight Classic, the golf classic that is about to get underway here at Sawgrass. So certainly looking forward to talking to Caitlin and a whole lot more about UNF golf. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Voice of the PGA Tour,
Joe Coward,
National College Football writer,
Matt Hayes,
Pro Bowl offensive lineman,
Leon Searcy.
They're XL Prime Time.
Dream team, baby.
Dream team. Dream team.
Afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010XL.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. At Terminix, they know how to stop termites, and they did that at my house. These destructive pests may have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so does Terminix, and their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem. I certainly didn't want to. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
Looking for adventure? Need a machine that works as hard as you do? CF Moto has you covered. At Ride Now Beach Boulevard, we've got CF Moto ATVs and UTVs built for any task, any trail, anytime. Tear up the dirt with the trail-tested C-Force ATV lineup or conquer through terrain with a Z-Force UTV. Find your CF Moto ride today at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or visit ridenowbeachboulevard.com. ATVs and UTVs are for riders 16 and older. They can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends an improved safety training course.
Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Jacksonville's summer heat is coming in fast. Is your AC ready to handle it, or will it quit on you on the hottest day of the year, leaving you sweating and stuck with a huge repair bill? Duck Air Conditioning is here to save the day with a free AC system inspection. Our expert techs will make recommendations to ensure your AC system is running in tip-top shape before the heat arrives. Call now, 904-862-6769. Duck Air Conditioning, duckduckac.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
What Major League Baseball teams have never won a World Series?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 5 Major League Baseball teams that have never won a World Series: Colorado, Milwaukee, San Diego, Seattle, and Tampa Bay.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
I'm Max Fink, and I'll bring you the Gator Report several times weekly to keep you connected to Gainesville.
The Gator Report, put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators! If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers, they take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web. Precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
When I was 6 years old, I broke my leg.
The O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, I'm Lauren Brooks, live here at Sawgrass Country Club, and we are so excited to be joined by Caitlin Schroeder, of course, of the UNF women's golf team. And if her last name sounds familiar, that's because her dad has been coaching golf at UNF for quite some time. Caitlin, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're super excited to have you. All right, so last week, tell us about how the UNF Collegiate went as our show got to broadcast from Jack's Golf.
Yeah, it was a great week getting to play at home. There was so much support from the community and UNF. It was very fun. We don't get to play at home very often, so it's always very special when we do. It was a good week. I think we finished 4th as a team. Casilda on our team, she finished 2nd, so she had a great finish, and I'm very happy for her. I finished in the top 10. So, yeah, it was very good momentum heading for the rest of the season.
Talk a little bit about that day because we were out there and it was very windy. We already talked about how those greens are really fast. We've heard a lot of people say that, and the wind probably didn't help very much.
No, it didn't. The greens were very firm, very fast. It was a very hard week. I want to say a few under one, and Cass finished 2nd, I think, at even par. So the scores were very high, which I think was good for our team to get a good finish because I think since we've had more experience on the golf course, getting to play it under harder conditions more consistently versus the other schools gave us a big advantage for sure going into that week. Yeah.
Caitlin Schroeder of the UNF golf team, kind enough to give us a few minutes here at the Haight, which is actually the men's or the boys tournament. The men, they're men. Yeah, it's men. It's college. We're talking college now. I've known Caitlin since she was 15, so I look at Caitlin and I'm like, are we talking boys high school golf? Are we talking boys college golf?
I've met her since she was 10, by the way.
Yeah, and Nick Morrow joined us, the athletic director for UNF, joined us last week, and he was like, yeah, last time when I first met Caitlin, she was like this tall.
Oh, yeah.
And so here we are. You are a junior now. Correct me if I'm, or is it redshirt? So sophomore.
Sophomore, yeah.
Okay, so redshirt sophomore. You, of course, began your career, your collegiate career at Alabama after being a top 10 recruit nationally. Walk us through not only your recruitment process, your time at Alabama, but the decision to come back home here to UNF.
Yeah, for sure. So when I was getting recruited out of high school, I really wanted to go somewhere with good facilities, good coaches. Like, at the time, 2 of my best friends were committed to go to Alabama, which I think played into the role of having a good culture, hopefully, and good people to push me. But I would say my first year at Alabama, I wasn't playing up to the level I was before. And I think I want to play professional golf after college, which was a big factor into my role of leaving. And I needed to go I knew I needed to go somewhere with closer to home. I wanted to get back closer to home with a better like, we didn't have the best team culture, I would say, and I just needed somewhere that would help me be ready for professional golf. So I think that was the main role of leaving. And then obviously with the transition that happened over the summer with my dad becoming director of golf and being helping more on the women's side was a big factor to come back home. I love Jacksonville. I love the community. We have such amazing golf courses. We have a great facility. I love UNF in the smaller school aspect more than I probably did at Bama. It takes 10 minutes to walk to class, 5 or 10 minutes, and our facility's right on campus, so it doesn't really get much better than that.
So we talk so much here on the Superstation about the idea of the transfer portal, right? But it's very rare that we actually get to speak with someone who has been in the transfer portal. Walk us through, Caitlin. What is it like to be a student athlete in the portal in 2024 and 2025?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it takes a couple days to get in once you kind of, I guess, ask or whatever to get in. And then I think coaches can just see the portal, it gives your contact information. So, like, I guess you kind of just start getting texts and calls as coaches sees your name in the portal. But yeah, I guess it's kind of how you would expect. But yeah,
team-wise, are they supportive in that process? The other girls that were on the golf team of your decision to want to play somewhere else?
Yes, they were very actually. My 2 friends that are actually there also actually transferred, which I think one of them decided about the same time I did, which I think was very helpful at the time because we just were very supportive with each other. We had a shoulder to lean on going through the same process at the same time. I think that really helped me go through that transition. And yeah, I think they were all very supportive. Like, they just wanted what's best for each of us individually, and whether that was staying or leaving or anything like that.
You mentioned beautiful golf courses around here. What's your favorite golf course ever you've played?
Ever?
Ever.
I've been lucky enough to play Augusta, which I would say that's probably my favorite. Like, walking down that, like, the first time I played it was also the first time I stepped on property, so getting to walk down 10, 11, 12 the whole back 9, it's like you're living a dream, to be honest. Like, I think Augusta's so special because obviously it's at the same course every year, so you've watched so much history between Tiger on 16. I got to hit that chip, seeing what Jordan did on 12 back in the day. Like, it's just, there's so much history there, and you just feel like you're living the dream, really.
Oh, that's amazing.
Love it. A couple more for our friend Caitlin Schroeder of the UNF golf team. Caitlin, for you, this is a UNF team that you mentioned the transition that happened over the summer. Your dad becomes the director of golf for both the men's and the women's teams at the University of North Florida, which is why he's wearing many hats here at the Haight Invitational at Sawgrass Country Club, which we're so excited to be broadcasting live from. Courtney Cobb, the associate head coach of the women's team. Courtney told us when she joined us last week on Helmets and Heels that this is not necessarily a fleshed out roster just yet. So what role have you played in not only maybe, being an enticing little carrot, if you may, to encourage other girls to come to the UNF golf team, but being an ambassador for the university?
Yeah, I think I would say, like, just being a good leader by action, I guess. Like, I think Cass is one of the bigger leaders on our team she's just unfortunately a senior, so I'm going to hate to see her leave next year. But I would just say, like, I think our culture is the big thing we're working on, like, finding people who really want to be here and really just want to work hard and play golf and continue to get better every day, I think is a big thing. Yeah.
What do you do when you're stressed out there on the golf course? Because, as we all know, golf is a very stressful game.
Yes. That's a great question. It's honestly something I'm still working on.
Okay.
Like, I think the mental part of golf is the hardest part of the sport for sure. Personally, I just try to, like, whenever I get more stressed or more anxious, I'll try to breathe more, drink some water, eat something. Like, I think that helps me the most.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm not a very good golfer, but every time I've tried to learn, everyone's like, don't think about it too much, but also put your knees like this and your hands like this and your elbows like this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm thinking now about everything. We were talking a little bit off air about what's coming up. You guys have a spring break trip, a couple places you're going. So tell us what's coming up. 2 tournaments, I think you said.
Yes. So this Thursday we leave for our first event. It's in Augusta, Georgia. Augusta's hosting it. It's a good field. There's a few. I think there's a couple Big Ten schools that are coming down to play in it, and it's Saturday and Sunday at Forest Hills, and then our conference championship in April is in Huntsville. So we're actually going to do a little team road trip to Huntsville from Augusta.
Nice.
I think we're staying in a house for I'm not exactly sure how many days it is, but which will be good team bonding. I'm actually really excited for it. And then we'll go from Huntsville to Florida State's event in Tallahassee. I think that's the following Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
How do you stay active / what do you do on all these road trips and the long drives in the car? In the truck. That's true. It is a bus. It's a bus. So.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll Netflix, movies,
okay.
If I have homework, yes. Yeah, laptop, iPad, whatever.
You are still a student athlete, so there is probably still some school part.
Yes, yeah, I definitely still have some school part, but with it being spring break, I don't have as much as normal, which will be kind of nice. Luckily, I think most of the road trips, none of them will be over 4 or 5 hours, so that's not terrible. But yeah, I'm a big Netflix girl.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, Caitlin. Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck, and we really appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Caitlin Schroeder, UNF Women's Golf, and like Mia said, a very high recruit out of high school into college, and we're so excited to have her with us. Go for it.
Since several of our Heeligans out there are angsting, they're angsting. They're saying, why are you talking about golf? Well, this is where we are. We're live at Sawgrass Country Club with our friends from UNF for the Haight Invitational. But yes, we are going to talk NFL free agency. Don't worry. Let's hit a breaking, RJ. Let's run through what we missed.
Now, breaking news.
All righty, the very latest on what we have seen that we know is verified by various sources and various newsbreakers around the National Football League. Let's begin with Taylor's Chicago Bears, who reached a 3-year, $42 million deal with former Falcons center Drew Dahlman. That includes $28 million guaranteed. Again, the Bears continue to fortify an offensive line. Last week, trading for both Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney. The expectation is that they will extend Thuney as well. In case you missed it, yes, Chris Godwin is headed back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 3-year deal. And then, of course, with the Kansas City Chiefs, Jalen Moore, the offensive tackle formerly of the San Francisco 49ers, signing a 2-year, $30 million deal. The Houston Texans continue to fortify their wide receiver room as they added now former Miami Dolphins wide receiver Braxton Berrios on a 1-year, $2 million deal, which I think is interesting, ladies, because...
Who was that?
Braxton Berrios to the Texans.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're adding another slot receiver after you just traded for Christian Kirk. That's a little fascinating.
Slotty roster.
In the words of Matt Hayes, slot. And a couple other notes from ESPN's Adam Schefter and company. The Arizona Cardinals re-signed left guard Evan Brown to a 2-year deal just prior to the legal tampering window opening at noon. And finally, Jair Alexander, who has been on the trade block for the last few weeks, the Green Bay Packers. According to Rob Domofsky, our friend with the Green Bay Packers, the ESPN NFL Nation reporter for them, he says at this point, Jair remains a member of the Packers. A source said that Packers GM Brian Gutekunst is not moving him yet, and so a situation we will continue to monitor. One more that just came in as I was rattling all those off. Free agent defensive tackle B.J. Hill is returning to the Cincinnati Bengals on a 3-year, $33 million deal, which includes $16 million guaranteed. And so once again, ladies, the trend that I anticipated seeing, that I heard about at the NFL Combine, this idea of no deal being more than 3 years, it's held serve so far in this opening 29 minutes of the legal tampering window.
Yeah, I want to get to the quarterback carousel that's going on in the NFL when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. We are live here at Sawgrass Country Club for the Haight Classic. Absolutely love being out here, and appreciate again Caitlin Schroeder for joining us. It is 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
Making spring a Jacksonville thing.
What a week! Get live Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates.
Enhanced by
Dermagnify, medical, surgical, and cosmetic dermatology, San Jose Collision, and Doorbell Farms Produce Delivery.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's exclusive 31-day spring event. Experience superior craftsmanship and timeless design with buy one, get one 40% off custom replacement windows and patio doors. Enjoy the ease of zero down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires March 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. Are you tired of wrestling with your old shower curtain? Then say goodbye to the curtain chaos and hello to a new frameless shower enclosure. Wago Glass is clear, classy, and won't stick to you like a toddler at bedtime. Plus, it makes your bathroom look bigger and brighter. Upgrade your shower experience and step into style. Call me at Baker Glass and get ready to love your new glass shower enclosure. Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
Youth sports at the YMCA's focus on teamwork, discipline, and building confidence. Our experienced coaches can create a positive and supportive environment where your kids can grow, stay active, and develop a love for sports. Sports like basketball, volleyball, swimming, gymnastics, and even elite skills training. Join the fun and register. Give your kids a chance to be a part of something special. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. Max Fink here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at kuhnflowers.com.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On March 10, 1963, NBA legend San Francisco Warriors center Wilt Chamberlain scored 70 points in the Warriors' win over the Syracuse Nationals.
Thinning or balding hair? Introducing Scalp Micropigmentation now at IHRS. SMP is a procedure for men and women, looks like your own growing hair, and corrects thinning areas. SMP is perfect for men and women who shave their head and want a full head of hair look. Call IHRS now, 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com today.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, the wings are fresh, the drinks are cold, and the game is always on. With 30 bold flavors, ice-cold beer, and handcrafted cocktails, there's no better place to kick back and catch every play. Escape the ordinary. Your home for sports is Hurricane Grill and Wings.
The 2025 NFL season is right around the corner, and the Jags are building something special. A fresh team, a new culture, and a stadium that's going to change the game. Be there to witness head coach Liam Cohen and the rest of the coaching crew in action by securing your season tickets today. Become a member to get access to exclusive experiences, VIP events, and more. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at the bank this fall.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy, you look worried.
Worried? I'm apoplectic!
You're apo what now?
I'm freaking out, Jason. Stupid water heater crapped out, so I haven't showered since Thursday. I start smelling a little funky, blow my big corporate job interview tomorrow. I'll end up settling for some dead-end career selling spatulas on the internet.
Dude, stay cool.
There's nothing cool about a cold shower, Jason. I mean, I know how that sounds, but...
Bueller Air and Plumbing can get a new water heater installed today. The day you call. You could be smelling fresh again by dinner time.
Wait, you can do that?
Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Is that cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Well, life moves pretty fast. If you spend much more time smelling like this, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Good morning, beat freaks. Who's ready to move? Let's start this day right.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, breaking news.
All right, folks. Twitter may be up, down. We don't really know. It's up, down, up, down, up, down. But we have the very latest of, at the very least, what is being posted on the alternative news sites, as well as I'm still getting updates from Twitter. So we'll roll with that. According to both Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter, the Washington Commanders have reached an agreement with former 49ers and Jets defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw. He gets a 3-year, $45 million deal with 30 of it guaranteed. And so once again, the trend holds serve of no contracts more than 3 years handed out to any player thus far. And a good point made by Andrew Siciliano of the NFL Network on Threads. It is a legal tampering window. That's what it's officially named. Yeah. But the reality is that this is a legal negotiating window. Yeah. Teams are allowed to officially engage in conversations with unrestricted free agents beginning at noon today. We are 36 minutes into that window. And the tampering, if anything, as Andrew pointed out, that happened over the weekend.
Yeah, the Kinlaw one, I think, is what we see a lot during this time because he had actually his best career season this last year with the Jets. And then the 3 seasons before that, though, battled a lot with injuries, and maybe the production wasn't there. So you don't want to take a massive risk with someone who's had 1 season of production that you'd like to see. And I think that's what a lot of the type of players, especially in this free agency, is what we're seeing. We're seeing maybe they had the 1 good season, or they've battled injuries, or maybe they've bounced around a little bit and it's been medium production, so you don't want to give them some long-term contract right now, so that a lot of them are getting these more prove-it deals, the shorter term, but they are still getting their money, so they're satisfied too.
And don't forget, punters matter too as well. Punters matter.
Punters are people
Punters
too.
are people too. J.K. Scott negotiated a new 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Chargers, and that, of course, came on the heels of Khalil Mack agreeing to a 1-year deal with the Chargers after it was like a parting of ways, and then they re-signed him for a year, and that's another scenario that I anticipate playing out across the league, especially up in Buffalo potentially with Von Miller after he was technically, if only in name, released on Sunday.
Yeah, as far as the quarterbacks go, Geno Smith now is headed to the Raiders, so he gets to reunite with Pete Carroll, which is interesting. The Seahawks now, it seems like, are going to pay Sam Darnold around 3 years, $40 million a year. If I had told y'all 2 years ago Sam Darnold's going to get a deal worth $120 million, you would have laughed at me, and now that's what it looks like is likely. And then we don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Right now it seems like he's the option that the Steelers want, and then, of course, you still have Justin Fields floating out there. Where is he going to end up? It's all interesting. I didn't really think that Rodgers would go Jets to Giants. That never seemed like a logical move to me. Yeah. But I certainly
So where else can he go?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's
I mean, but then what happens with Russell Wilson?
Yeah, I don't think they want Russ.
If anything, they want Justin Fields
more than Russ, is what we've heard. But which is interesting because it's like you go back to last summer and the camp, it pretty much was pretty quickly decided that it was going to be Russell Wilson, and then there was injury stuff happened, and obviously it changed, but then it ended up being Russ once Russ was healthy. And then now all of a sudden they're like, never mind, we don't want Russ anymore. So I don't know. But we were joking off air where I was like, that's a very interesting combination of people. If it was Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and George Pickens in meetings together, a lot of strong personalities in one room.
But then you've seen rumors that they might trade George Pickens now that they've acquired DK Metcalf, which, I mean,
that's odd.
George Pickens is good. He's really good.
Right.
In
He's a fine number 2.
But I don't know that he would want to be a number 2, and I don't know
that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to want to stay in Pittsburgh either. But just because you say you want to leave doesn't always mean that you will, because as we saw with Myles Garrett, he wanted out of Cleveland.
And then they said, here's some money.
Then they paid him, and now he's the highest non-paid quarterback in the NFL.
Our thanks, by the way, to our friends who are hosting us here at the Sawgrass Country Club. Again, we are here for a golf tournament, but we are talking NFL free agency. Everybody take a deep breath. We can do multiple things at once here on Helmets and Heels. But we do have a TV set up with ESPN currently on it to our left. And, of course, the big story on Get Up right now is that Justin Fields continues to talk with the Steelers, who, of course, he was with last season, but he is mulling a Jets situation. And so that's where I'm so curious by this, because if you're the Jets, it feels like at this juncture they've put all their eggs, as far as we know, into the Justin Fields basket. Like that is the focus, is if they can get Justin Fields, which is a kind of a strange hill to die on. No offense to Justin Fields, who, of course, Taylor knows very well from covering him with the Chicago Bears. But it's interesting because I have not heard any other quarterback really linked to the Jets. And part of that is, of course, because Aaron Rodgers most recently played for them and Sam Darnold was drafted by them once upon a time.
Yeah, I think that situation's so interesting, because when we're talking about this quarterback carousel and where people might land, and you look at the Jets, the Jets just feel like they've obviously had a lot of issues trying to find this quarterback and having to get it to work. But I think some of that is in building situations, because we're seeing guys like a Sam Darnold who are now working out in other places. So it has to be frustrating for them to watch these guys who are really good before them and then come to New York and don't play well, or guys that they get and don't play well, they get rid of and go on to find good careers. Now they're trying to obviously change things, and with new coach and stuff like that, we'll see how it ends up panning out. But it is fascinating to see which route they want to go. The Justin Fields one is interesting, because I think he'll be a little cheaper than maybe some of these other guys like a Rodgers, or if it was a Kirk Cousins or something like that. But I'm still seeing, like most of the people are saying, still like 10 to 13 million for Justin. And last season, when it was like midway through the year, people were like, oh, maybe someone will trade for Justin and they'll only have to pay him like 6-7, and now that's doubled since then. And I think some of that is because of what quarterbacks are available and how many teams need quarterbacks right now.
And I also read that Derek Carr basically was playing hardball with the Saints, and that he believed he had a market. Are you kidding me?
He does, solely because people aren't sold on Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders and the rest of the names that we just floated out there in the free agency market. Like that's the reason he thought he had a market.
Yeah. What does Seattle do now?
It's funny you should say that,
pay Sam Darnold.
Well, it's funny you should say that. And look, I understand Mike Florio is a mercurial character. I wanted to give him the Pulitzer a few weeks ago after his detailed report of the Thrilla and in Vanilla Latte at the NFL Scouting Combine between Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz. However, this report I have to take a back seat to. Apparently 20 minutes ago, Florio posted on Pro Football Talk that he believes that maybe Seattle could be trying to trade for Trevor Lawrence, because per his reporting, it was not the Pittsburgh Steelers when that fictitious, in my estimation, report floated about 3 weeks ago, a month ago now, that the Steelers had inquired about trading for the Jaguars quarterback, that it was actually the Seahawks who had inquired. My thing is this, first off, and he makes the point. He says, look, the Jags keep saying they're not trading Trevor, but the Seahawks said the same thing about Geno Smith. Trevor Lawrence and Geno Smith are at very different junctures in their careers, and both franchises are in very different points. Additionally, Tony Boselli would not come on our air week in and week out since being named the executive vice president and not only say Trevor is our quarterback, but say we are going to win a Super Bowl with Trevor if they were not sticking with Trevor long term. And then, of course, if you scroll past the ad on Pro Football Talk, then it says, if it happens, it'll happen quickly. The fallback, we're told, is Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold's, I think, going to be the Seattle quarterback, and I didn't think that the Vikings could win the Super Bowl last year after we saw them in Jacksonville, as far as how Sam Darnold played in that game. And, of course, he had played poorly the week before that as well, throwing the 5 interceptions.
So this is hilarious. RJ, let's hit a breaking. And finally, we have some movement in Jacksonville, folks.
Oh, snap.
Now, breaking news.
Okay, according to Ian Rappaport and Peter Schrager, the Jaguars are signing Jordan Lewis. He becomes the NFL's highest paid nickel corner, which is hilarious when you consider that I was told at the NFL Scouting Combine that Jarian Jones is the nickel and Darnell Savage is going to play more snaps in the slot. And so for as much as we just spent some time critiquing the Houston Texans for going slot at the wide receiver position,
of course.
The Jaguars are going slot at the cornerback position.
And we just had this conversation last year where I was like, that is the area that I'm most confident in. And then now you go and make somebody the highest paid, unless they have an eye and they think they want to move Jarian outside.
And maybe.
But you were just told at the combine that Jarian's going to be the nickel corner and Savage will be his backup then?
No, Savage, you'll see if you have like 6 defensive backs on the field at once and you have 3 safeties and like who's that extra safety that helps crowd the box and run support, it would be Savage. And that you would also see looks where it's 3 safeties, 2 corners, and Savage then moves into the slot there. So, yeah, this doesn't really add up to me. So, yeah, that's but there's your Jaguar news for the Healigan.
There's your first thing that I've been waiting. We said we weren't expecting that big splash right away.
We had a Healigan who texted into the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, which is open, folks, 904-641-1010. That is working. Twitter may not be working, but that is working. We had someone who texted in and asked if we were interviewing Caitlin Schroeder, and we are here live at the Hate Invitational because the Jaguars are trying to cover up that they're not going to do anything. I was like, you're
trying to throw distractions
out there. You are
there.
thinking way too much into this, sir. Also of note, the Rams are bringing back, this says cornerback, but I'm assuming it means quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo on a 1-year deal, according to Ian Rappaport.
Jimmy Garoppolo is, you know how they say that like when the end of the world happens, there's still going to be roaches? I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo is the one that just survives. And I mean, I feel like we haven't talked about him as far as on field in years now.
Yeah.
But hey, that's why I always say the best position sometimes is backup quarterback. All right, so when it comes to the Jags, like you mentioned, Mia, there's a new nickel corner. And so, yeah, that I'm guessing that means that Jarian,
they want to see what he can do out there.
Yeah, that they're going to move him to the cornerback opposite Tyson Campbell.
And we talked a lot, even last year, of do you see a world where that happens? And I remember Lageman specifically talking about this, and Lageman saying he does believe he can play outside corner, and he thinks he could play it to a high level, but why would you take somebody who could potentially be elite at another position and move him just because you possibly can? And so that is interesting to me because I do think that you saw Jarian at certain points of this last year was the best player on the football field, especially defensively. And so to take him away from that just to be like, well, he can do it is a little odd for me, especially because I feel like that secondary in general, and we're hoping that with Campanile and not Ryan Nielsen being here and things changing, that maybe adding some pass rush, it helps the guys in the back a little bit. But it was a big problem, the secondary as a whole last year. And when you have somebody who's the best, was your best player on that side of the ball at a large portions of last season, it's weird to me to just all of a sudden up and move him.
Well, it's interesting, especially when you consider what Jarian's strengths are, i.e. like crowding the box and run support, and that's what a nickel corner does.
Yeah.
So that part's interesting to me. As for those of you asking who is Jordan Lewis, he spent the first 8 years of his career, all 8 years of his career with the Dallas Cowboys after playing collegiately at Michigan. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so he has played almost a full season in nearly every single game that he has never actually played a full season outside of 2019 and 2021. But in terms of time missed, it's been a game here or a game there. 15 games played in each of his first 2 years, 16, 15, 16, only 6 games played in 2022, and then 16 each of the last 2 seasons. Yes, I don't think it's the sexy name that many of you were hoping for in terms of his numbers when it comes to interceptions, passes defended. He's had 1 season of 11 pass deflections. That was in 2021. 1 the next season, 5 the next, 8 the next. He forced 3 fumbles in 2023. The stats are kind of all over the ballpark. Career high was 3 picks in 2021 as well, the same year of those 11 passes deflected. And so it's an interesting signing, especially, again, coupled with the information that I was given in Indianapolis.
It is, and for people looking to spell it, Jordan is spelled Jourdan, not the traditional way of Jordan. Much like our friend Jordan Rodriguez, that's how you spell her name as well. All right, we've got more to do on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. We are live here at Sawgrass Country Club for the Hate Invitational. It is 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Your radio highlight reel.
Caught for the touchdown.
1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round 1 of draft night.
through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes. One lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsored and administrator, Everbank N.A.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional, non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at hodgesmazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Helmets and heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Struggling with ED? Now Riddle Wellness has a solution that works. You've heard of PRP treatments for joint pain relief. That same technology is now available with the P-Shot, a non-surgical treatment for ED. Using your body's natural power, the P-Shot helps restore function naturally. No pills, no downtime, just results. Schedule a free consultation at elevatejacksonville.com and learn what the P-Shot can do for you. Riddle Wellness, your health, your confidence totally restored. Visit elevatejacksonville.com.
Ahead, we build platforms for digital business. We help create your platform for digital business by weaving together advances in cloud infrastructure, intelligent operations, and modern applications. Digital business is comprised of 5 pillars. We call them imperatives because they're a must-have, not a nice-to-have. We enterprise cloud, integrated security, scaled DevOps, intelligent operations, and relentless automation. Need help with digital transformation? Ahead. Learn, grow, achieve.
Hey folks, Nick here for Zero Res. You're going to want to beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Hey, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Don't forget about your air ducts. Your air ducts sort of like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com. Tell them Dan or 1010XL sent you. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Plumbing problem? AC acting up? Septic tank trouble? Don't waste time calling 3 different companies. Just call Duck Duck Rooter. We offer plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services. Call 904-862-6769.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, I'm Jeff Breyer, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Zach Breyer. When my dad started in business in 1990, I wasn't even born yet.
That's true. And after 35 years and nearly 20,000 satisfied customers, we literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, or you're looking to transform your home with new flooring, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites, or better yet, do yourself a favor and stop by one of our showrooms on Phillips Highway to experience the Lifetime difference and receive 20% off your purchase now through March.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
My name is Joanne. I'm 75 years old, and I have lost 35 pounds on Awaken 180 weight loss. I was pre-diabetic. I was ready to go on cholesterol medication. My blood pressure was up even on medication. Now I have no need for cholesterol medication. My blood sugar is fine, and I actually am cutting down on my blood pressure medicine. I have knee replacements and hip replacements, and I had difficulty walking, and now I can walk without any problem. I feel lighter. I feel more energetic. It is a lifestyle that will help you to lose weight without medication.
Thanks, Joanne. Matt Hayes here. Stories like Joanne's are the reason I continue to share the Awaken 180 message. The results speak for themselves, and I'm confident you'll have the same success if you let them show you how. Do what Joanne did, what I did, and what over 24,000 others have done, and choose the solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
New and pre-owned firearms are always in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimbar, Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, and Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppable, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Jacksonville runs on dreams, and Haymaker Coffee is a local brand fueling the next generation. Keep each day strong with a Haymaker. Fuel for the morning hustle, the late night, and every step of the way. Bold flavors for the bold city. Online at haymakercoffeeco.com.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders. 41010XL teams and agents can officially negotiate contracts today and come to terms on contracts that'll be made official once the new league year begins on Wednesday. The Jacksonville Jaguars, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, are signing former Cowboys cornerback Jordan Lewis. Rappaport adds that this deal will make Lewis the highest paid nickel corner in 2024. Lewis appeared in 16 games and recorded 71 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception, and 8 passes defended. However, the Jaguars are going to miss out on Chris Godwin as he agrees to a 3-year contract to remain in Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers. Currently 72 degrees at 12:56. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
We go together, better than birds of a feather, you and me. We change the weather, yeah.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels, live here at Sawgrass Country Club as the third and final round of the Hate is underway. The UNF men's golf team starting this morning around 8th place in the tournament, and then hopefully going to improve upon that as the day goes along. But some really good teams here, some top 10 teams here at Sawgrass.
As you just heard RJ mention during the update, the Jaguars have made one known move since the legal negotiating window began at 12 p.m. Eastern today, and that is signing former Dallas Cowboys corner Jordan Lewis. As one of our Heeligans pointed out to us on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, which is open at 904-641-1010 for all of your comments and thoughts on this free agency window. Here is the write-up from Greg Rosenthal of NFL.com, who joined Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and the boys on Jaguars today, earlier today. Here is his write-up on Jordan Lewis. A do-everything defensive back whom the Cowboys have always raved about for his intangibles. Lewis's on-field production in 2024 sets him up well to get a decent payday. Intangibly rich. It is written, folks.
It's there.
Do with this information what you will.
Yeah, I saw actually on DallasCowboys.com when they wrote an article, and it was going through the players they'd like to they would like to stay in Dallas, and this is one of the names. And this was like his little write-up on it. Pretty much saying Lewis wasn't named. They were saying he was snubbed. They felt like he should have been a Pro Bowler last year, apparently. So it said they felt like he was snubbed. He wasn't named to either Pro Bowl nor the All-Pro list, not even a second teamer after this season he produced in 2024. Nonetheless, he was not only one of the best players in the building, but in the NFL, consistently grading out as the best nickel corner in the entire league. And Bears mentioning it wasn't so long ago that he thought his career was over with a shattered foot that now requires a custom cleat, still playing at the highest level of his career while also being vocally pushing the locker room to do better on the field. So sounds like the type of energy you want when we're talking about bringing those guys in here who are vocal.
I remember during his time at Michigan, like he was a pros pro. He was, I believe, a captain on that Jim Harbaugh team. And so, again, trying to bring in guys who can set the culture.
I'm trying to think. We've had a lot of connections to Liam Cohen and James Gladstone, obviously, so far as the other coaches that have been brought in. I wonder where the Cowboys connection comes into play with Jordan Lewis. Do you think it's Coach Campo?
Maybe, yeah. Campo's talking to somebody in the building. Yeah, and usually there's something, and whether it's maybe I would have to go back and look at schedules. How much were these guys, did they play against him at some point? And that's what stood out, because a lot of times you'll hear that. You'll hear coaches be like, oh, I remember when we played them in week 12 and this player stood out. As someone, I went back and watched the tape. And so it will be interesting. It's funny because it's the one name when we're talking about the Dalton Dahlman. Me and I were like, we had never heard of this guy, and all of a sudden everybody was talking about him, and they're like, oh, he graded out as one of the top centers in the NFL last year for the Falcons, and we were like, what? And then it's kind of similar where that just shows you're not as enriched in all of the teams, especially when it comes to like a nickel corner spot. You're not usually talking about those corners the way you are the outside corners.
I would like to publicly say that Taylor Dahl and I were not wrong. We were just early when we said that Drew Dahlman played for the Chicago Bears. Yes, we got by Wikipedia last week, but shout out to Bears Twitter and Bears Wikipedia because they were right on the money.
Oh, yeah, it was because someone texted in. I was like, I don't know who that is. And then she was like, well, Wikipedia said he played for the Bears. I was like, I don't know him if he did play for the Bears.
Yeah, that you would know, certainly, as far as covering it that closely. I wanted to run through the leaderboard here at the Haight. Alabama is in first place so far. Like I said, the third round just now underway. It started about 30 minutes ago. Alabama is 22 under, and they are 18th in the country. Virginia is ranked 9th in the country. They're at 15 under. And then you have Duke, 28th in the country at 13 under. So those are the top three. Texas at 12 under, they are number 4 in the country. So, like I said, you have some really, really good men's golf programs here. North Carolina rounds out the top 5 at 8 under. So, Alabama, Virginia, Duke, Texas, North Carolina, some really good, like I said, golf teams. And UNF is certainly trying to improve upon the 8 over that they are right now.
Yeah, it was pretty cool walking in and just seeing the various banners of all the programs from across the country. I mean, there's a UTSA banner right in front of us. Walking in, and the Duke men's.
I saw they were loaded with Duke fans out there.
Yeah, the Duke men's golf team had all their bags lined up, and I'm like, dang, like Duke's here. So that speaks to, of course, the warm weather and the beautiful golf courses we have here in Northeast Florida, but the respect that Scott Schroeder and the program at UNF have, that so many Power 4 teams, Power 5 teams also want to come here to Jacksonville. A couple other notes from around the NFL free agency. Again, listen, the text line is open. The YouTube digital studio chat line is open. Stop trying to spread misinformation in there, though, folks. I'm like seeing some of these numbers and like names y'all throw. Like, stop. Just please stop. Unless it's something that you know is verified, you saw it on TV, or you see it on another news breaking site. Please, humor us. 2 little bits of note from Ian Rappaport, not so little, I suppose, because this is about an offensive lineman. From Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, the Tennessee Titans are loading up on their offensive line. They have agreed to terms with, oh boy, ladies, man, oh man, my streak has ended. Oh. They have agreed to terms with Steelers left tackle Dan Moore on a 4-year, $82 million deal with $50 million of it guaranteed. Other news from the AFC South, Derek Barnett staying in Houston with the Texans on a 1-year deal for $5 million. Also, according to the NFL Network, the Dan Moore signing is fascinating to me for a lot of reasons. First of which, the Titans continue to throw money at their offensive line, and while I trust Bill Callahan is one of the most valued offensive line minds in the game today, part of me just can't come away from this idea of they keep trying to Band-Aid free agent fix in addition to drafting Peter Skoronski, and it just hasn't worked out for them so far.
Yeah, it hasn't worked for the Texans really either.
No.
Yeah, well, yeah, clearly, because theirs got worse last year when they were healthy, so that hasn't worked. But I do think that's the Titans' approach the last few years in general has been very odd, of how it almost feels like they've made moves as if they were they were contenders to, hey, let's get this year or two because we could win right now, and that hasn't felt like it's been the case, especially with Will Levis. And so it is interesting how they're in this weird limbo of, okay, we do need to kind of revamp everything and rebuild, but also we're going to just put some patchwork on this and hope that it works.
That's what's so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Well, I assume that the Jaguars are going to be in the market for a free agent offensive lineman.
Yeah.
My guess is an interior offensive lineman. Now that you need a center, you probably need a right guard, is my guess. And so at this point, we still haven't seen any of that news, but I would be surprised if the Jaguars don't land at least one offensive lineman free agent.
Yeah, I would think so as well. And a couple names that are still on the board that we've seen a couple of you on the the YouTube digital studio, as well as the text line Design My Lifetime Enclosures that you've mentioned. Certainly Ryan Kelly was with the Indianapolis Colts for his entire career up to this point. That's a name that perhaps is a stopgap. I keep coming back to this idea of the Jaguars will draft their center of the future, because that is truly, I mean, figuratively and literally at the heart of what this team believes is most important.
Or do they love Luke Fortner?
No, they're going to
because of of the Liam Cohen connection.
No, they're gonna come over, like they're gonna say that, but no. I mean,
there would be pitchforks if they're
guard.
I think go with Luke Falk.
Guard, I think, is more likely. By the way, guard is more likely, and I've seen a couple of you say Josh Myers out of Green Bay, and he does have center versatility, so maybe you float that one out there.
And Campanile would certainly be familiar with
Correct.
him. Yeah.
According to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network on Threads, the Giants are signing former New Orleans Saints standout corner Paulson Adebo, and that's a name that I know Greg Rosenthal and a couple others said he's a guy who you sign and you know his best football is ahead of him. And in case you're just joining us, I see almost 400 of you live on YouTube, which we appreciate. I led the program by saying when Lauren asked, do we think the Jaguars will make a flurry of moves? I said, no, I think this free agent class, not saying that they're all going to be, 1 or 2 year stopgaps like the first free agent class under Trent Baalke back in 2021, but it will be that nature. I don't envision the Jaguars making any massive splash signings, but Paulson Adebo was a guy I did have circled because I think that the signings you are seeing are, yes, intangibly rich guys like Jordan Lewis, the one known signing the Jaguars have made so far, who make your locker room better and also give you a veteran presence on the field. But I envision a lot of these signings will be guys who not necessarily prove it deals, but guys who you believe their best ball is ahead of them, and that's the case with Adebo.
I also prefer when people do mock drafts after free agency. It's just a personal preference. I understand why people do them ahead of free agency, but I think it's smarter just to wait until after because this time right now is going to determine the trajectory of some teams and what they do in the NFL draft. And so you do need to kind of wait. And so in that vein, what the Jaguars do at pick 5, I think we'll have at least some light shed on that by free agency.
Yeah, even the last week of things and that have happened obviously with Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk and Darby, and then now this signing, it does start to fluctuate and change what you want to do because but it also has made more holes in my opinion. And granted, we're just now hitting this legal tampering, so there's a lot of time left to kind of figure out what goes there. But we've talked about before where you're like, all right, you need 2 offensive linemen, you need 2 defensive linemen, maybe 2 safeties, at least 1. You need a corner. And then now you're like, well, we really need a wide receiver also, and you probably need another tight end also. So it's like now it's grown to like you already had a lot of holes, and then now it's even bigger than what it was 2 weeks ago. But that's what this time is, and they'll find guys, and it may not be these big, huge names that people know, but everything, if you Google this Jordan Lewis, right away people are coming up about how good he was at that nickel corner spot. And so maybe in their head, then that means they move Jarian. And then in their world, your corners are good. Your corners are set.
Twitter is kind of working, maybe, possibly. I'm not even going to say that it's good because I've said that 3 times today, and then it just decided to backfire and go kaput again. But thank you to Rob on Twitter for sending to us Don Brown, the DC at Michigan, when Jordan Lewis was a player there, of course, under Jim Harbaugh. Liam has mentioned several times how much of a mentor and influence Don Brown was on him. I know so many of us speculated what the connections from Don Brown's coaching tree might be if Don Brown himself would be a senior defensive assistant for the Jaguars. That did not come to pass. Certainly there's a little bit of an Anthony Campanile tie there. And so the tie that we've been waiting on was Jordan Lewis. Good connection there by Robert.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's going to be – this roster is going to be fascinating as far as when James Gladstone got the job. And certainly I expected, like I said, Ingram and Kirk to be on this offense for sure. Darby, not so much. He certainly didn't play as well. Devin Duvernay, I probably didn't even think twice, honestly, that much about it. But James Gladstone took over that roster, and now it's going to look so much different when the Jaguars actually take the field come September. The backup quarterback is still, I think, a one to watch. Yeah, and I wonder if that's a free agent. I don't think you draft a backup quarterback. I feel like they're going to use those 10 picks on guys that they think can start. Not necessarily that they're going to draft all 10 starters, but I think their plan is going to be we're going to draft guys that we need to start.
Yeah, I could see them drafting a quarterback later, though. I still think they would need to address it in free agency because that's a position that you do have to focus on. And unfortunately, the last 2 years, the entire last month of the year, Trevor was playing injured and then was injured. And so you do have to keep that in mind of now it's been back-to-back years where there's a big chunk of time where your starting quarterback isn't there. So you want to maybe invest in someone in free agency that you are confident can come in. And if he has to come in for 4 or 5 games, is able to win a couple of those.
Some notes on the specifics of the contract for Jordan Lewis, a 3-year, $30 million deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars, 20 of which is fully guaranteed, $12.5 million this year. And that obviously it makes him the highest paid nickel in the NFL currently. Let's hit a breaking, RJ, because this one certainly may upset some Jaguar fans.
Now, breaking news.
Also, according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network and Tom Pelissero, the New England Patriots are signing Carlton Davis to a 3-year, $60 million deal with $34.5 of it fully guaranteed. Obviously, that was one of the bigger names on the outside corner market that so many thought could be a match for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I also want to note that another big name on the open market, Milton Williams, the defensive tackle formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles, has reportedly signed with the Carolina Panthers, according to Diana Rossini of The Athletic.
Yeah, the Carlton Davis, it should now maybe be a little bit less surprising if we're following the breadcrumbs than if you now have the highest paid nickel corner. Jordan Lewis is going to be the nickel corner.
Yeah.
So therefore, now you don't have a place on the field for Jarian Jones unless he's your outside corner. So if that's their plan, then they weren't going to then go and pay top dollar for an outside corner. And you have a lot of money invested in Tyson Campbell already.
Yeah, I do think that the corner position still, because of Tyson Campbell's another one who's dealt with injuries the last couple seasons, and when he wasn't on the field, things drastically changed too. And so I do think you still need an answer, and you have to kind of have somebody that you're prepared to be confident that they can come in for an injured Tyson, but you want Jarian on the field. The Jarian Jones is somebody that you want to be starting on the field, and if you're paying someone that high money, and it seems like Jordan Lewis is a nickel corner, and that is what he does. There's not the question of maybe they'll slide him outside from everything I'm seeing. So it looks like Jarian will be that person. And so maybe to them that takes the ease in their eyes, at least for the starting corners. And then now you do want to maybe address some depth, but it takes away some of the pressure on that side of the ball there.
So the discrepancy, J.C. Horn, now the highest paid NFL corner, outside corner, he's getting an average of $25 million a year. Jordan Lewis, now the highest paid nickel corner, getting around $10 million a year. So there's a gap of $15 million between outside corner and inside corner. J.C. Horn surpassed Jalen Ramsey as the highest paid corner.
Yeah. Don't forget that the New England Patriots, the most cap space of any one team. And, of course, the Carolina Panthers also with ample cap space as well. The Los Angeles Chargers, the Las Vegas Raiders are among those teams that have a ton of cap space. And I'm curious to see. And now the Jaguars, with the 7th most cap space entering the day. Again, I'm going to be curious to see if all of these teams actually do choose to go on a shopping spree, or do they say, once again, as I led the program by saying, we want to keep our money, we want to pay our own, and we'll figure out down the road exactly where we want to go in terms of spending in free agent dollars.
Yeah, I mean, it's fitting here because when we talk about the Jags and their needs, the majority of those needs are position groups that are deep in the draft. Some of these teams, the positions that they need maybe aren't in those position groups that are deeper, so they may want to look in free agency a little more than the Jaguars. But when we're talking about interior offensive line, when you're talking about the defensive line, when you're talking about safety, to me, those are position groups that in this draft are deep, and you can get still starters in the second, third round, fourth round. And so that does change the perspective a little bit for the Jaguars. But other teams are looking at maybe some position groups that aren't as deep that we've talked about, like an edge or something like that, and you do want to address it in free agency.
All right, let's get into a little basketball on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels live here at Sawgrass Country Club for the 2025 Hate on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
One of the few places drinking and driving isn't against the law.
Good-looking shot here. Get live Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates
from Corona Premier, Campione Law, and Kuhn Flowers
on 1010XL.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal Conditions.
Need a new air conditioning system? Don't sign anything. Call Ideal Conditions Heating and Air Conditioning, your AC experts. Just ask your AC. Finance a brand new system for 60 months with 0% interest on approved credit for approved systems. Visit idealconditionsjacks.com.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
Idealconditionsjacks.com.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sunny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all-you-can-eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
If you've been in an auto accident, you can count on the experts at San Jose Collision to return your vehicle to pre-accident conditions. San Jose Collision can also provide a fresh paint job to freshen up your vehicle or completely change its appearance. They can paint and repair all foreign and domestic cars and trucks. When quality and professionalism are important to you, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Florida homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Universal Roof and Contract protects your home and your wallet. Invest in a stronger roof and save big. Spend $6,000 and get up to $600 off. $15,000 up to $2,000 off. $20,000 up to $3,000 off. This deal ends March 31st. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound & Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound & Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
It's time to keep the party going. All parrot heads unite once again with Jimmy Buffett's Coral Reefer Band. It's 5 o'clock live in Jacksonville. Daly's Place, Saturday, March 15th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Let's keep the party going with a tribute to Jimmy Buffett featuring the Coral Reefer Band. One night only, Saturday, March 15th, Daly's Place.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS. IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Share a cup of coffee and range balls with Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros. Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Sounds like a lot of club for this young man.
Brunch with the tour.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation, 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group, 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
Listen up, poker players. March is heating up at all 3 Best Bet locations. The Bad Beat jackpots are now uncapped, soaring to new heights. So don't miss your chance to win big. Plus, get in on the $42,000 weekend windfall, featuring $1,000 high hands every Friday and $500 high hands on Saturdays. And starting March 3rd, the Race to a Race promotion is back. For all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Open early and open
open late. Dailies is always there, making things easy for you to cruise in and cruise out. So hit Dailies cold case the next time you're craving a cold one. Bud Light by the case, plus plenty of singles to choose from. Corona to the King of Beers to Stella or a Natty. They're all cold at Dailies.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Before we briefly pivot to some basketball talk, yes, it's the first day of NFL free agency, and we are going to talk about the Florida Gator men's basketball team, which is currently in line for a 1 seed in next week's NCAA tournament. We did get a scouting report on the newest Jacksonville Jaguar, Jordan Lewis, from our friend E.J. Snyder of Bootleg Football. As we know, former Michigan guy, tough, good in the run fit, good eyes, decisive, a little agent of chaos, which, of course, as we continue our conversation, for us, it's just a little befuddling knowing that also could be a potential bio for one Jarian Jones, who the Jaguars took in the 3rd round of last year's NFL draft. I've seen the Knowles fans, by the way, Lauren. Yeah. I've seen the Knowles fans in the YouTube digital studio who have noted, and they're not wrong, that Jarian did play outside at different junctures during his Florida State tenure as well. Yeah, and a year ago, I think, 11 months ago or so, after Jarian was drafted, we wondered what the plan would be, because at that point in time, this Jaguars secondary, what we thought was going to look so good under Ryan Nielsen, right? And the whole defense, obviously. And when that didn't happen, you start to wonder, did they play him out of position? Even though he played well at nickel corner, should you have had him opposite Tyson? And so to me, I take out of the news of Jordan Lewis being signed from the Cowboys to the Jags, that they're moving Jarian Jones to outside corner. Unless they are going to play two nickels at once. And then Darnell Savage is also going to see snaps in the slot.
So to me, that's what this news tells me. And I could be wrong, but I believe now it's going to be number 3 in Tyson Campbell opposite number 22 in Jarian Jones, and then we'll see what number Jordan Lewis is going to be at the nickel corner spot. Speaking of men's basketball, yes, I have to touch on the fact that Florida did beat Ole Miss, so that's, if you're counting, that's in football and men's basketball this season. Florida won 90-71 Saturday night, and that brings me to my pest of the day. As always, brought to you by Terminix. If you have any issues at your house, whether it's pests, whether it's termites, make sure you visit Terminix.com, Terminix.com, and they will certainly help you like they did for us at my house. All right, so an AP voter, and this is, I'm hoping not Mia, but an AP voter voted Florida 16, put Florida at 16 in their ballot this week. I knew it wasn't you.
No.
I don't understand how Florida can't be a top 4 team at this point in time when you've seen the body of work that they've done. They are, like Auburn, they are 27-4 in all of basketball, 14-4 in the SEC, 15-1 at home. And, of course, you're talking about the SEC that is the best men's basketball conference in all of the country. So how the heck?
I need this person to explain themselves.
Yeah, no, this is somebody who's got a vendetta.
Definitely,
that's somebody with a vendetta. Although, I took a lot of flack from Louisville fans last week because I didn't include them in my ballot, and they were all losing their minds. Part of why I didn't include Louisville last week, which, by the way, I have them 16th this week. Part of why I didn't include Louisville is because, yes, they went 16-2, 18-2, whatever it was, in the ACC regular season. Keyword there being in the ACC, a conference that outside of Duke, who I haven't looked officially if the new AP poll is out yet, but which it should be, as I'm going to give you guys my ballot too. Duke is still number 2. I put them at number 1. They did receive plenty of, plenty of love. Actually, no, it's a tie. Interesting. No, they're still at 2. Maybe the AP poll hasn't come out yet. Either way, outside of Duke and Clemson, in the ACC, in men's basketball this year, Wake Forest has been a major disappointment. Our friends at Florida State, we love you guys. We're excited about the new regime that's about to get underway, and we'll talk about that later in the program, but ultimately it was not in the cards. Syracuse has not taken the step forward under Red Autry that so many expected. And so for me, that's great that Louisville's beating up on, teams that aren't making the NCAA tournament. Comparatively, the University of Florida is beating teams in the SEC, not just the best conference of basketball this year, but could go down as the best conference ever in the history of the sport by 20.
Yeah, here are the latest rankings. Duke 1, Houston 2, Auburn 3, Florida 4. Obviously, like I said, Florida has to be in the top 4 if you're watching college basketball. And the incredible, to me, athleticism that this team has. Every single guy is does something more impressive like every night, it seems. And the latest, if you were watching Saturday night, certainly Ruben Chinyelu had another terrific performance. You're not always going to see the stats reflect just how incredibly hard he plays. And we were watching the game with some friends, and one of our friends was like, Thomas Houck is my favorite all-time Gator basketball player. I'm like, really? Already? But, I mean, I understand.
Sure,
yeah, and you can literally pick a different guy. Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, Will Richard, the trio of seniors that were honored. I read Chris Harry's story on them, and it was so cool that early in the season, they had won a game, I forget over which team. That's not the point of the story. But Walter Clayton Jr. and Will Richard were scheduled to meet with the media. And so they're always handed the box score so that way they can review what happened in the game before they go meet with media. And Walter Clayton looked over it and said, we need Elijah Martin to be up on the podium with us. He had a double-double. So the SIDs, of course, then go get him. He's like, absolutely, and he deserves to be up here. That's the type of like just cool selflessness that they represent or that they show. And I think
you can tell that on the court.
And that's exactly what I was saying. You can see it on the court.
I'll take it one step further and not to give away all the great little nuggets that are in that story by Chris Harry. But then Elijah Martin paid it forward when he texted Todd Golden that night and said, make sure when we review the game and we go through scout, you give Denzel Aberdeen his flowers, because if he hadn't set up this screen, I don't have the opportunity for this play. And that only furthers
it was a
that
huge
conversation.
Dunk, too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing to watch. You don't really see – we talk so much about the transfer portal and NIL and how nasty things can get within teams and programs, and yet this team doesn't seem to have any of that. They would rather have the other person get the credit, and they just want to win basketball games. And that's a great sign for the SEC men's basketball tournament that gets underway on Wednesday. Florida doesn't play until Friday because of the double bye, but I'm super excited to watch LSU Mississippi State. That comes up on Wednesday, and then whoever wins that game will take on Missouri on Thursday, and then Florida takes on the winner of one of those teams.
Yeah, I think it also speaks volumes for Todd Golden, especially with obviously the way things started in this season and how distracting that could have became, and it never felt like it became distracting at all. So for himself personally as a coach, but also how that's just bled into the team and just kind of rallying through whatever. And when you're going through injuries, I feel like they never blinked through any of the injuries that they were dealing with. And then now you get all of these guys coming back healthy, and they're playing so well together. And I had questions a few weeks ago, and I remember asking you, like, do you see it potentially being a problem because it feels like every night it's someone different? Is that going to run out? It doesn't feel like it has. Every night when they need somebody to be that person, obviously there's the main guys when we're talking about a Walter Clayton and guys like that, but some of these others that have came in and just rallied through and played their part so well has been a big part of why I think we've just never seen them start to fall off at all.
And the boys on the drill this morning were talking about, heaven forbid, which I don't even want to say heaven forbid because I think it's going to be a reality, especially if Florida makes a deep run in the tournament. Sorry, Lauren, cover your ears. When Alex Condon goes to the NBA next year, the boys on the drill were saying about how it's going to be such a heavy lift to reload the roster. And to your point, Taylor, that is one thing that I do not have to worry about if I'm to be a Florida Gator fan or a media member like I am, because no one in the last 2 years has been a better talent evaluator, both out of the portal as well as, by the way, from the high school ranks, because some of the names that Todd Golden was able to unearth, including Alex Condon, who had 3 Division I Power 4 offers. That, for me, and not even then, St. Mary's isn't even a Power 4. So 3 major Division I, high major, so to speak. That says to me that, well, yes, we will see what happens here in March for the Florida Gators men's basketball team, but I am confident that he will figure it out next year as well.
Were you watching when Alabama beat Auburn at the buzzer?
I actually wasn't. So my brother was visiting this weekend, and so my basketball viewing was like here, there, and everywhere. And so I ended up not getting to see that game live, but we did play on our highlights last week. We had plenty of This Is March buzzer beaters.
Yeah, it was awesame.
Yeah.
It was the
great
game itself.
The game itself was great. And
was fantastic.
I am honestly shocked that Auburn fell to 3 in the AP poll, because I still put them second, because I do still think Auburn is still Duke has the better record. That's the only reason I put Duke ahead of Auburn on my ballot this morning.
But see, I think, and in watching the game, it goes to overtime, and that's, like I said, Bama wins on the buzzer beater. But Auburn's going to go as Janai Broome goes, and that's a little bit dangerous. Janai Broome is a fantastic player. He'll probably win SEC Player of the Year. But if he has, one game where he doesn't show up as much for them, Auburn loses. And again, he plays so hard, plays so tough. He's a great guy to watch, and he's super talented. but you need more than just, I feel like, the one superstar, and that's where Florida's roster is constructed.
Correct. And I think that, and again, I've found it fascinating since the SEC tournament bracket was released, how I've heard from multiple Gator fans about this concern of facing Mizzou. Don't forget, and Graham Marsh, our buddy Spielberg, has done a great job of emphasizing this point to me. And, of course, you should listen to Denmark and Marsh on the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel and our podcast network. That team, that Florida team that lost to Mizzou, is a different team than the one you're facing right now. That Florida team was hitting its ceiling. It had a 7-8-man rotation. They really hadn't gotten Klavzar involved at that point. They really, well, obviously Micah Handlogden was at that point in time was redshirting, and this is a different team schematically. How deep they go into their bench, the fact that Thomas Haug has a lot more playing time now, a lot longer leash, and in turn, it has helped Todd Golden and the Gators unlock a new ceiling that they have yet to reach. And that is where I look at this matchup with Mizzou and I say, you know what? It's a different team. You can't look back.
Mizzou. It may not.
And it may not be. It may be Mississippi State, although they've kind of trailed off your Chris Janza squad the last month or so. But regardless of who it is, this is a different team than the one you saw in January. And that was a team that was still a top 25 team in the country. This team happens to be a top 5 team.
And Handlogden's another example of the selflessness.
Yeah.
He definitely could have sat out the entire season instead of missing 3/4 of the season and then saying, you know what, once Condon went down, I need to be there for my team. And so, again, what Todd Golden's been able to do with the rest of his staff, you have a basketball team that could win the SEC men's basketball tournament, which is going to feel like winning the national tournament, the NCAA tournament, because the SEC is so stinking good. I don't know if I've ever been, and that's probably too strong, that's probably recency bias, but I'll say it anyway. I don't know if I've ever been as excited about the SEC men's basketball tournament as I am this week. And I say that because Florida went undefeated in the SEC in 2014. Prior to that, in 06 and 07, like the SEC was good, but not nearly as good as it is now. And so before it used to be kind of Kentucky and everybody else. And then it became Kentucky and Florida and everybody else. And now literally, like we just talked about, we haven't even mentioned Tennessee, but it is going to be a wild tournament. And I feel like at the same time, I want Florida to win it all in the SEC, but I also don't really care because I care way more about the NCAA tournament.
It was funny because last week, it felt like last year. Last week we were talking about it, and I was like, it's just pretty much like Duke in the SEC March Madness tournament.
In Houston.
In Houston,
it gets underway on Wednesday. It's going to be fun. Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to the J-Fun Wine Tasting Gala. I know we had lots of 1010XL people there. They raised $372,000 just that night. And of course, that will all go back to our community for families who are battling childhood cancer. And so great job by all of them. And just wanted to give them a shout out. We've got one segment to go here live from Sawgrass on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
There's a reason why people love to listen to play-by-play on the radio.
This is unbelievable what we're witnessing. I'm serious.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Mia here. Summer is just around the corner. Is your air conditioning unit ready to handle the heat? There is one way to find out, and it doesn't cost you a penny. My friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning are hooking up all of our 1010XL listeners with a free inspection. Give them a call to schedule now, 904-862-6769. And if you need any repairs, they'll provide a free estimate to ensure your system is ready for the Florida heat. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning at 904-862-6769 and be sure to tell them you want the free AC inspection you heard about on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local women-owned solar company. At Clay Solar, we're more than just panels and power. We're about people. We make the switch to clean energy simple, stress-free, and built to last. If you've had a bad experience with solar in the past, we can help. We specialize in dependable solutions and top-notch customer service, so you can finally enjoy the savings and sustainability you deserve. Schedule your free consultation at claysolar.com.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Keeping kids active is a full-time job for parents. Look no further, though, than I-9 Sports, covering Duval, St. John's, and Clay to get your youngster in the game. Spring and summer registration open right now for flag football, soccer, t-ball, and basketball. Plus, all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. I-9 Sports with fields and gyms all over 3 counties. And the best thing is I-9 Sports offers sports year-round so kids can always find a sport to play. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Walls. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning, 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
The First Tee Tour Card is back for 2025 and better than ever, with access to over 15 of North Florida's best courses and new this year, local participating businesses. This card is your ticket to saving hundreds. First Tee North Florida is a local nonprofit who build character in youth participants through the game of golf. This annual fundraiser enables this amazing organization the ability to build game changers. Grab your tour card for just $99 at tourcard.org for a list of participating partners, benefits, and restrictions.
Hacker here, and as most of you know, I'm now in Awaken 180's free maintenance support for life. 122 pounds gone, and that number on the scale hasn't crept up a pound. I didn't just choose Awaken 180 because of the weight loss. I chose Awaken 180 to keep the weight off. I wasn't going to put in the work, the highs, the achievements, just to watch it slip away after the program stopped. I wanted a solution, and boy, I sure found it. Awaken 180 is life-changing and life-altering. Over 120 pounds down in just 10 months. Now I'm in the maintenance program. I still get the coaching that I need. I still get the motivation that got me 120 pounds down, and I'm not gaining it back. If it's time for you to lose the weight like it was for me, go to Awaken180weightloss.com. That's Awaken180weightloss.com. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
The 2025 NFL season is right around the corner, and the Jags are building something special. A fresh team, a new culture, and a stadium that's going to change the game. Be there to witness head coach Liam Cohen and the rest of the coaching crew in action by securing your season tickets today. Become a member to get access to exclusive experiences, VIP events, and more. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at the bank this fall.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
We appreciate the more than 300 of you that are currently listening to the Superstation, even those of you, including A. Baker on YouTube, who is upset that we talked about basketball and golf, too. Hey, listen, it's a wide world of sports. It's why we're helmets and heels. But shout out, bro. Shout out to everybody on the YouTube Digital Studio for chiming in, everybody on the text line Design by Lifetime Enclosures on this, the first day of the legal tampering window in the National Football League. And a thanks to our hosts today here at Sawgrass Country Club, the UNF golf team here at the Haight. I don't know how we got an hour and 38 minutes into the program, and I have yet to publicly say it, but once again, folks, the Arnold Palmer, it's
made another appearance.
It is, everybody's having some. It warms my heart. They are an official sponsor of the Haight, and our thanks to UNF for hosting us. And yes, we will be for the next 20 minutes or so, keeping you up to date on the very latest when it comes to free agency in the National Football League, including Jordan Schultz of Fox reporting that DJ Reed, the now former Jets corner, who is signing a 3-year, $48 million deal that includes 32 of it fully guaranteed with the Detroit Lions. I find that interesting, Taylor and Lauren, because that's a Lions team that has drafted at the cornerback position. And now they're bringing in a veteran. And again, I think that's okay. I think it's okay to say, hey, we need to fortify and strengthen a strength, not just in Detroit, but I think in many situations across the National Football League, whereas some of us want to question it, including here in Jacksonville at a very specific niche nickel cornerback position.
So David Moore, Taylor, he covers the Cowboys in Dallas. He tweeted out that cornerback Jordan Lewis was arguably the top veteran free agent the Cowboys hope to retain after re-signing their defensive tackle. Losing Lewis to Jacksonville, a person with knowledge of the departure confirmed, is a big blow and puts the Cowboys secondary in a bind. So interesting as far as if you're a Cowboys fan, but when it comes to Jacksonville, I'll say it one more time, this to me speaks volumes. I believe that James Gladstone and Anthony Campanile, the defensive coordinator, have come together and decided that Jarian Jones can play outside corner opposite Tyson Campbell, and now Jordan Lewis will be the nickel corner. That's what it screams to me. Certainly we won't know more until we get into pretty much training camp and get to watch them on the field, maybe a little bit through OTAs, but that's what it says to me.
Yeah, and that's what, going to two things here. When it comes to Detroit, that's the reason Detroit now has been able to build this product, and that we go back to that couple years ago when the Jags won the 9 games. They get into the postseason. Lions won 9 games. They didn't get into the postseason. They were right on the brink, but because of obviously that division and other things, they didn't get in. And I remember that's when it felt like the Jags just kind of settled on what they had, and they were very much so like, okay, well, we made the postseason, and we played really good football at the end, so that's good. Let's just kind of roll with what we got. Lions after that did not. Lions went and made multiple big splash moves. They continued to build, even in position groups that you felt they were already strong in, like an offensive line, and now they continue to do that because they're looking at this as, they're not just saying, hey, we can win for a couple years. They think they can win for a long time, and if you're going to do that, you, number one, want depth, and I think they know they have a solid foundation built. So now at this point, you're just building stronger, and they feel like they have to, especially in that division. But another side note, too, because I read someone posted that Amon-Ra was speaking about Jordan Lewis. And so there's a quote from him after, I guess, the Lions played Dallas, and St. Brown said he was talking crazy like some I've never heard before, and they asked Lewis about it. He said, I honestly don't remember. Sometimes I just black out, just go somewhere else with it. But if I said anything disrespectful, I'd probably say it again. So he's a little wild, so we'll get ready for probably some good quotes. But at least the energy we're talking about, if we want the
you want that edge. You want the edge. You want somebody who's a competitor as much as you want them to be intangibly rich. Some other notes from around the free agency world. Former Eagles corner Isaiah Rodgers agrees to a 2-year, $15 million deal with the Minnesota Vikings. The New England Patriots are not done. Again, they are the team that entered the day with the most cap space in the National Football League, and they continue to spend. They have agreed to terms with veteran tackle Morgan Moses on a 3-year, $24 million deal, which is fascinating considering Morgan Moses is 34 years old. $28.5 million potential on that contract with incentives. And look, if you're the New England Patriots, and I think that's a prime example for the Jaguars and why so many Jaguar fans are panicking right now, which you should not be panicking. We are an hour and 42 minutes into this, folks. The reason that
Jags fans love to panic.
They do, and they fall in love with like 2 free agent names, and then if you don't sign them, it's the end of the world. Here's the thing. The New England Patriots offensive line last year was an abomination. They are going to address their offensive line in the draft. But they could not roll into the draft and not do anything in free agency. And that is where I think Jaguar fans feel as well, knowing that there are two gaping holes at the center and the guard position. And the idea of you can't go into the draft and just say, yeah, we're going to be drafting a center or drafting a guard. You can't tip your cap like that to other teams because then you lose all the leverage possible. And so that's where I think fans are a little upset because they want to see some sort of free agent fix for now. But of course, Lauren, once that free agent fix for now is signed, it will be, that guy stinks. He can't be starting for us day one. Well, he's what you got to do. Stopgap at the very least.
Sure. Well, you want competition at every position for the most part, other than, I guess, quarterback. You're not going to have competition there. But you'd like to be able to push guys. And is Walker Little, we've talked about it, Anton Harrison, are they cemented as the left and right tackle? As of now, yes. But if other free agents, if guys are drafted that are there to push them, I think that's always a good thing. And the Jaguars certainly at edge last year, there was not that Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walken had bad seasons, but they didn't have any competition. Yeah. And nor will they probably this year. But it would be great to see another edge, I think, come in and push them a little bit. Josh Hines Allen is one of the highest paid, even though Max Crosby and Myles Garrett both got deals. He's still one of the highest paid edge rushers in all of the NFL.
Is there a concern to you at all when we're having that conversation about Jarian? And this is us just assuming because of the move today, but about Jarian moving outside because he's like 5'10". Are you worried about that, an outside corner being that small when having to cover guys like Nico Collins?
4.38 speed, so that helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look,
that's why people thought he'd be nickel in the NFL, though.
But I also think that the nickel, much like we spent a lot of time on the Duval Rundown podcast last Thursday talking about how the slot receiver has changed, and in turn the nickel corner has changed because you are no longer seeing just these smaller-bodied, crafty wide receivers playing underneath and then matched up by equally, perhaps, undersized, but also crafty, physical defensive backs. That's not necessarily what you're seeing because you're seeing the emergence of this larger slot, especially, and not just larger slot in the regards to a Laviska Shenault or somebody who could also play running back. It's not just that. It's Brian Thomas Jr. can go into the slot. Justin Jefferson in Minnesota goes into the slot.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, the list goes on. And so as that position changes, I think the nickel corner has also changed, and so he played the nickel at 5'10".
Yeah.
So I would like to think he can play outside at 5'10".
On the NFL draft guide, they list Jarian at 6 feet. So
yeah, he's not.
I
think
just
he's
mean,
like 5'11", maybe max.
Yeah, but I think it's good for Jarian to get a chance that he can prove himself because when we were just talking about Jordan Lewis and the report of the trash talking from Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jarian Jones is 100% in that category.
Oh, yeah.
So
sure.
I love now that the defense is going to add some more of that nastiness, that type of player that isn't afraid to talk trash, but also to back it up. I don't think this defense has had that style enough, I should say, of those style of players. And I'm not talking they need everyone to be like that. Then the defense, like Foye Oluokun is never going to be that type of guy, but collectively, I think they need a little bit more of that on defense.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because I always go back to I loved Jarian's reaction after the Philly game last year when he got backwards hurdled over and when he got addressed by, like, his response to that, I loved because it would have been so easy to just try and, like, hide from it. Instead, he just led into it, like, okay. Like,
which, by the way, I saw Saquon Barkley Brian was watching one of the morning shows, and Saquon Barkley was on it, and he was like, I jumped over Campbell, I think. He didn't even know who he jumped over. I was like, come on, Saquon. Yeah, but still, that play, Saquon Barkley is fantastic.
Yeah,
that play obviously got played, it feels like, so much this past season. Anything, Mia, as far as the Jags besides Jordan Lewis that you're seeing now that X is back up?
Yeah, it appears it's back up, or at least that's what Ian Rappaport said. Hopefully he didn't jinx it there.
It does seem like it's fine. It's back to rap
Yeah,
sheet.
it seems normal to me, but I don't see any other Jaguars news as of now.
Yeah, no other Jaguars news as of now. Again, I think people need to take a deep breath. I think that they need to remember that this is a over 48-hour window in which the negotiations can begin already. I'm seeing reports right now that while Milton Williams, it was reported by The Athletic that he was headed to the Carolina Panthers. Apparently, the Arizona Cardinals have gotten back in the mix and potentially could also be extending an offer, and so he could flip ship. And so don't be surprised if that also happens, where you see some of these agents who initially agree in principle to a deal and then something else comes along and they jump ship. And so I think that that's important to note. I also think our friend who has joined us at least once on this iteration of Helmets and Heels, Lance Zierlein, of course, morning radio host in Houston, but also with NFL.com. He tweeted out 2 minutes ago, Texans fans can probably take most of the first wave of free agency off. It's like going to a restaurant with your friends in high school, but you didn't bring any money. At least you can eat some chips or maybe bread or maybe crackers. I don't want to say that that's what Jaguars free agency is going to be here in 2025. But at the very least, through an hour and 48 minutes, it appears to be that way. And so I'll go back to what I said off the top of the show. I don't envision James Gladstone in his first free agent class, having only been on the job for 3 weeks. I don't envision the Jaguars going out and making a splash. First and foremost, they believe that they can compete next year with the roster that they have and with minor tweaks here and there. I go back to the Los Angeles Chargers of a year ago, and I will continue to make that comparison in terms of, in a vacuum, what the Jaguars want to do. Obviously, that team had a ton of blue-chip players already on the roster, especially on the defensive side of the ball between Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, et cetera, et cetera. They said goodbye to a lot of those blue chippers on the offensive side of the ball. The free agent signings that they made were not splash, but they banked on their coaching, they banked on their drafting, and guess what happened? They made the postseason. And so I think that that is another comp, if you don't want to look to the 2021 Jaguars, of, in my estimation, what you can expect over the next 2 days.
Yeah, I think a large part of that, though, was what you first said. They already had a lot of blue chippers, and you have to, I think a lot of people would argue they don't believe the Jags have a lot of blue chippers right now, and I think you would name a few, but I don't know how deep you would go into that. And when you were talking about the Chargers defense, you're naming a lot of them.
Yeah, I thought, Ingram was a blue chipper. I pretty much had Christian Kirk when healthy as a blue chipper as well. So, yeah, we shall see. All right, let's check in with XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Joe, as we're live here at Sawgrass Country Club, I have to ask you, have you played this track before?
Yeah, have not played there in a long time. One of the last times, though, I saw more of the woods than I saw of the fairway. I can just tell you that. Because when wind comes in off the Atlantic, that is a beast of a course. It really is.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that as we are sitting here on the balcony overlooking the golf course. Yeah, it's very windy here, so I know it's tough going. Obviously, the rain does slow down the greens a little bit for these guys out there, but Alabama still in the lead at 23 under, followed by a tie for second, Virginia and Duke at 14 under. But yeah, the wind certainly does not make things easier.
That's why they moved it originally to from Sawgrass Country Club to ultimately the stadium course as we know it now, TPC Sawgrass in the early 80s, because it was just too tough of a golf course with the wind pressing in off the Atlantic. It's a tough course.
For sure. Speaking of golf courses, so excited to be at the Players tomorrow. Who's going to win? Who you got?
I don't know. I bounce back and forth. Oberg is definitely one of my favorite guys to watch right now because he's just so cool and casual, and he doesn't take a lot of time over any shot. He just moved here, so I like that guy. But there's plenty of other ones. So I was actually going to put dollars on Russell Henley this week, but he won this past week, so I probably won't do that. He's playing well.
Yeah. All right. How much do you know about Jordan Lewis now?
I'm learning a lot. I think more than anything else, the affinity from the Cowboys fan base and from the people that covered him, at the very least, they're lauding his skills. He played inside a ton last year. He's certainly been a respected player in that locker room. That defense has kind of been up and down. We all know that. But at the very least, they're taking an early swing, dealing with a liability that they've had when it comes to the passing secondary. And so let's see what happens. It doesn't take Travis Hunter off the board, but I'm still thinking, of course, big with that number 5 pick overall. But Travis Hunter's still alive right now.
Yeah, big. You could go offensive line. You could go defensive tackle. All right, Joe, what's coming up?
We'll definitely be diving in because I'm looking at it was $1 billion spent or committed to spend by owners over the weekend, and now the money is just flying fast and furious. So we'll be knee-deep in free agency, obviously college hoops from the weekend, and then getting ready for the playoffs.
All right, sounds good. Lots to do. We'll be listening. Thanks, Joe.
Right, thank you.
Well, ladies, we made it through with only one free agent added to the Jaguars in our 2 hours, but certainly...
And Twitter decided to come back at the end of our show.
Yeah, exactly. But the shows roll on. Keep it right here on XO Primetime, and then the Frangie Show will also be live here from Sawgrass Country Club, and they'll give you the latest on the hate. For General Leary, our engineer here, for RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters, who's been making it all happen flawlessly. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow.